Look at that.
Look at that.
Whoa.
I hear birds
I
outside.
heard.
Yeah, you do. It's definitely not from here.
No birds there? That was inside.
Not as I'm inside. Yes, definitely no birds inside.
I don't know what I'm hearing.
They're
I'm
in your head.
hallucinating. I'm hallucinating.
They're in your head. I think it's part of this desire to your subconscious wants to be there, wants to be in San Francisco, and you're
Yes.
hearing birds from the garden outside the Moscone. I guess that's what it is.
I'm hearing sound and I see the trees. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's birds. So here we are, and we have our good friend Joseph on. Joseph Cox, how are you, man? It's been ages.
And I'm afraid he's frozen.
We froze.
Yes, I'm here.
Frozen.
Hey, everyone.
Oh,
There we
It
go.
you're
has
there,
been a long
okay.
time, and you were both. Yeah. So you're both definitely missed. This is an event that is not the same without both of you. So you'll get a pass this time, but you got to be here next time.
We're
Oh.
definitely missing be there. I
Yes.
gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Joseph. So what's it like? This is a
Oh, it is.
new experience.
It's so
right?
good to be back in person. Yes, well, it's not. It's an experience that we haven't had in a long time. That's for sure. For me, RSA, it's got the conference, but it's all about the community. It's all about coming together, sharing the experiences, sharing the knowledge, and really meeting people, just kind of finding what's been happening. Because the only way we can really defend and become a safer world is working together, and working together means coming together. So for me, this event has been. I say that what the event itself was called Transform. This is the reunion event. It's a people event, and it's all about the people. So it's so great to be back at RSA. It's been too long, and for me, it's been an amazing experience just to reconnect again and find out what's been happening.
So there's two parts there. So there's reconnecting and finding out what's happening. And I know before we started streaming, you mentioned a moment where you saw somebody dragging a suitcase, and then somebody else came, and somebody else came, and then somebody else came. For those who know, they probably figured out who the suitcase dragger is. But
I'm just gonna
that's
say
one part.
whiskey. I'm just gonna say
Suitcase of
whiskey.
whiskey.
And
I didn't add the whiskey part.
Yes,
but,
there was a massive suitcase of whiskey being dragged along the street. And for that, it was almost like, it was just like, all of a sudden, it was like, 15 of us all standing around in a circle, just going, it was fantastic. It was so good to see people have good discussions, and it's been different as well. From myself, I'm a hugger. I guess I'm, like Jason Street. And so when I see people, but this event, it's just finding the boundaries of everyone. Is
Right.
people willing? Are they okay with shaking hands? Is it still fist bumps? And every now and again, it's you're either doing the finger thing or you're doing the fist bumps. So it's been interesting to kind of get to learn how to socialize again. But definitely, it's so good to interact and to really just find out what people's been doing, because it has been a long time. For many, it's been 2 years and more.
and things are new for you in some respects, right?
In which, like traveling to the US for a while.
There's that, but just what you're up to, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
how you
for
engage
me, yeah. So for me, I've been doing a lot of speaking here, lots of engagement. My days have been long, and that's the one thing is, I came here on the weekend already, so I was at B-Sides for Saturday and Sunday, which is great, because I think for me, B-Sides is more, it's the event where it's accessible. People can get to it. It's not. They can get to hear the talks and great speakers. And then, of course, Monday starts with RSA. And ever since, it's just been long days. Lots of walking, lots of talking. The day starts typically at 7 in the morning. If you're a party goer and you go to the parties, you'll probably be, till maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on how your stamina is. For me, my days kind of finish about 10:30 p.m. But it's been fantastic. I've got to listen to a lot of great sessions. I got to do a lot of interviews. Doing my speaking session was this morning. And it was really fantastic just to get back in front of a big audience again, and really share the experience and knowledge.
Session.
So my session, so it was about ransomware case. So what's different about the session I do is that I've taken, it's a real world victim who became a victim of ransomware, and they wanted me to share their story. They wanted me to share the end-to-end experience, what it was like to be in its response, and the stress of the team, and not having, having a plan, but not being instant response ready. And then also going to what the attackers did end to end. How did the initial access happen? How did they do enumeration? What types of tools did they use? How did they elevate privileges? And ultimately to deploying the ransomware itself. And it included a large part of it was a demonstration. So I actually recreated the victim's environment and went and did basically the attacker path end to end. So we had I was almost about 250 people in the audience, and the feedback was great. It was a fantastic session. The demo went perfect. So
they were with you, the demo gods, were they?
they were this time. Yes.
What else? What else? What was the vibe in terms of the conversation? I mean, you already made us jealous for the vibe of hugging people, running into each other. But, and I mean, I always assume that you don't just go back to normal after these 2 years. You go back to a different new normal, a new normal.
Absolutely.
Was that there in the air? Yeah.
No, not so much. I felt like it was almost like, you know, we're almost back to that traditional kind of experience again. It's not quite there, but it's getting there. Of course, you know, there's a lot of people wearing masks, a lot of people, you know, doing the distancing, and getting back into that interaction. But I feel like we're not too far away from getting back to where it was before. For me,
how about the conversation? How about the topics?
Conversations has been all about the people. It's the human aspect of things. I think even though a few years ago it was called the human element a few years ago, I really think this was the year of the human element. For me, it was all about, we've been in high stress environment. Our jobs are highly stressful. A lot of people get burned out. A lot of people leaving the industry. And we really need to turn it around. We need to get people back in. We need to bring the fun back into our industry. We need to get away from the fear mongering and really think about how we make security exciting. How do we make it positive? So I think we really do need to think about our image or branding and probably do a better marketing at the positivity. But this year was all definitely about the people side of things, about how it's important that we need to invest in training, how we need to make sure they have the right skill sets. How do we make sure that they have a balance between both productivity and their work and their personal life? So I think really there was a lot of talk around the well-being of the existing people in the community, and also to make sure that those who are coming into the industry feel welcomed and feel excited and passionate and don't quickly burn out. So for me, definitely a lot of the talks have really been about, you know, the people side and how do we take care of the people, because, you know, we have lots of great technology. You know, there's a process and automation, but it doesn't exist without the people. And we need to make sure that we actually, you know, equally invest in the people and make sure they have the right skills, because this is an industry that if you stop learning in 2 years, you'll be basically already out of date. And for me, definitely, we need to reconsider and make sure that it's easy, and make sure that we actually invest the time and the money to make sure that people feel valued.
Yeah, I love that, Joseph. And it's been a common theme through most of the chats we've had with folks on the floor there. And I'm just wondering, you may not have the answer, but I'm going to put it out there anyway, because it sticks in my mind. So helping the cybersecurity analysts and the managers and everything kind of deal with the stress is kind of a band-aid, or treating the symptom, not the cause. And I'm just wondering, did you hear anything about making the tools and the technology and the processes and the collaboration to kind of ease some of the stress in the first place? Did any of that come ring through at all?
I mean, walking around the expo hall and looking at the different technology, it was still, the message is still very much fear driven. You know, it's very much about, you know, advanced threat protection, you know, advanced attackers, you know, phishing scams. We do need to change the way that we approach it. I definitely think we need to start thinking about more enablement, more automation, more about how people can actually, you know, really kind of, you know, put the tools to work, rather than keep having to work, you know, the tool, we work for the tools. They need to do the job for us. So for me, you know, it's going that direction, but I still think we're a little bit further away. But I do think it's a priority. I do think that a lot of organizations really need to make that emphasis, that the tools need to be doing the job for us. So automation, machine learning, integrations, interoperability is all key in that direction. And we need to make sure that, you know, the tools do the job for us. And that allows us to, again, you know, spend the more investment in time of knowledge and training and education.
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, I mean, I've had many conversations. Obviously, my channel, Redefining Security, is all about operationalizing the tools
Yes.
and building the team in a way that they can actually succeed and help the business achieve its objectives, not just keep MTTR down to
Absolutely.
some figure that makes sense, right, to whomever. So, Marco.
No, I just following this. That has been also the theme with the other conversation that we had. One, everybody, every single person that we connected it was about the people, and I think it's
Yes.
because it comes from our heart that we want to be there with the people, and maybe we have a different perspective now on technology, on how it needs to serve us. And Sean mentioned redefining cybersecurity. We also have a channel called Redefining Technology, which the entire goal is that one. I'm wondering, in your opinion, how much of these 2 years of pandemic, of working from home, spending more time with the families, and finding maybe a better balance between working, and even if many say people have been working even more from home, but how much of these can go, as you say, into the tools that now can serve us lifestyle, and not us being the slaves of the tools?
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the important things. Is for myself is really it's about making sure the tools do the job, and that you can automate them. Working remotely, I mean, I think for many people, that actually, there's a big difference. I've been working remotely for 15 years, but there's a big difference between working remotely and working from home, and especially when everyone else is working from home as well, and you've got family and you've got kids. That does create a lot more of a stressful environment and more of a challenge to find that where's that cutoff, where's the time when you're not working and where's the time you are working, and you end up getting people end up doing actually longer days and finding difficult to shut off from the job. So I think it really comes down to the management side of things, about really having a culture that really knows when they need to shut off, when they can take the time away and get that balance back. So for me, absolutely, it's a fine balance, and we as people, we always want to do our job well. And then for security, it's a 24/7, 365. It never turns off. It's not a job where you basically can just leave it and come back to it tomorrow. It's a job that always is continuously evolving. So we do have to make sure that we do have good rotation. We do have to make sure that people, when they do stop, that they don't feel pressured to keep looking at their phones and keep looking at the alerts and keeping involved, and let the tools do the job for us and inform us when we do need to be involved. So this is something, and even the last few years, one of the problems I think that has been accelerating is the attackers have getting better. And because of remote working and because of that, the pandemic and the less interaction we've had, I think we haven't accelerated as much or as fast. So that gap between the attackers and the defenders has increased. So I'm concerned that we need to find a way. If we don't find a way to get that balance and reduce that gap, cyber attacks are going to get increased. They're going to accelerate, and they're going to get more aggressive. And when you think about in the last 2 years, what's happened is a lot of the attackers have become specialists. You've got those who specialize in just getting access, those who specialize in creating cryptors, those who've moved to ransomware as a service, those who specialize in help desk. So they've become specialized and working almost in this kind of supply chain business line that are all working together and specialize in the specific skill sets that they've had. And it's also for those getting into the industry, it's almost easier for them to become criminals because the entry level and requirements for certification is much lower than getting a job in the industry. So that's another problem with the skills gap and the requirements that a lot of those entry level jobs are requiring. And we need to start looking at how do we lower that? How do we make sure that people can get into the industry and we train them on the job? If they're passionate, let's get them involved. Let's find a way to make sure that they get the skills that we can take them to being the next defenders of the world. So for me, there's a lot of things happening, but we need to look at how we can reduce that gap from attackers to defenders, and how we make sure that we continually, get that balance and get the right skills, get the knowledge in the industry, and also create a lot of diversity. We need people from other industries to come in. I find that when I was working in incident response, that the team very quickly got stressed. And you need to think about when you're doing incident response, sometimes you even need to have somebody who's a therapist or even a psychologist in the team to take care of the people in those very stressful environments. So our industry is definitely evolving. It needs to change. We need to become more open, more diverse, more accepting to other skill sets, and realize that cyber is no longer a security IT problem, that it's now becoming a business problem.
Yeah, and I have 100 questions. I want to talk to you for hours, Joseph.
We're gonna need a podcast
very,
for that.
very philosophical questions based on what we've discussed thus far, but we unfortunately don't have the time to do that at the moment. So just as we sign off, maybe a thought from you. Is there something you'd like to see at RSA conference next year that maybe will help give it that extra little boost next time around?
I think definitely we definitely need to focus on entry level people. We need to be more open to getting those who are passionate. I know there's a lot of scholarships and stuff, but we need to go further. We need to start really looking at not just college students, but also people in all industries that just want to come into our industry. I think we really need to, and emphasize of this needs to turn to education, not just sessions and getting the latest updates and tools. I think it is a community event, and it's continuing to grow that way, but we really need to start looking at how the skills, how we get more people, not the high skilled positions, but those who just have a passion to get into the industry. And I think I would love next year to see RSA really looking at bringing more people who want to be in the industry and finding a way to get all of them involved.
Nice. Well said, Joseph. And I think, yeah, I would imagine a lot of people would echo sentiment from hiring, building products to support this. And then obviously every sector that's impacted by cybersecurity wants
Absolutely. Make it more accessible for everybody, not just a few.
We were just on with Steve from the Aerospace Village, and that's one of their key drivers. Bo Woods helped.
Bo was fantastic. Yeah,
exactly.
I've been looking from this week, but I haven't had time to catch up yet. But there's still a few hours of today, so I might
you
catch
still have time.
Bo and Polino are awesome. So looking forward to seeing them at some point.
Yep. I think there is a big spontaneous, organic feeling in the community. I mean, you guys all brought the same topic to the table with different perspective, but the core was that. So I think that ultimately these big events, they've been doing a good job at adapting to the cultural changes. So I think that as a community, we can make a big difference in making the changes that we want to be the act for those changes.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, for me, I'm not getting any younger. More gray hair from the last time. My eyesight's going. But at the end of the day, I would love to see those who I can share my knowledge with, and get more younger, passionate, exciting people in that will carry carry this passion on from where we're leaving off. So for me, I just want to make sure that we're not just an aging community, but we're a community that's growing and diversifying and bringing exciting new talent in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that,
Perfect.
Joseph. I love it.
Perfect.
And hopefully at some point I'll have a chance to visit you in Old Town Talon again.
Old time, yes. We'll definitely have a good session in probably Hill Hunt.
Yes. Millinokai, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Absolutely.
I'll be sure to join you guys.
Exactly.
Yes, let's make it a good session then.
Yes, absolutely.
Totally.
All right. Well, Joseph, thanks for bringing your perspective from the event to us here on ITSP Magazine. Always a pleasure to see you, man. Miss you tons. And,
likewise.
Thanks everybody for listening to this. We have another session here in a couple minutes.
One more.
So stay then.
One
more live, and then we have Amina bringing her living and breathing technology show.
Straight from New Zealand.
Everyone stay safe. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the awesome work, and keep us all connected. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. See you soon.
See you soon. All the best. Bye.
Bye.